Did you do any extra work for the WWF before you went up there for your deal? Never did a TV, nothing like that.
Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. Uh, I just turned 21. Um, and you know, I've told the story a million times, but Brody called me while I was at work. He was doing extra work. He had just kind of started doing extra work for WWE.
Okay.
Uh, and he called me, and I was at my shoot job, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Working." He was like, "If you can get down to the arena right now, you can probably wrestle Shelton Benjamin on TV tonight." So I just zipped down to the arena and met him
Why
at the
so?
door. What's that?
Like, why so? Why were you gonna wrestle Shelton and not the guys that were there?
Because everybody there was very big, and they wanted it was Shelton when he was first kind of debuting on ECW, and they were trying to put him over like a monster, like a
Okay.
big badass. And the guys there were Brody Lee, Corey Graves was one of the extras that night. Michael Tarver was one of the extras that night. So just a bunch of big dudes. And
Right.
they wanted someone smaller that he could kind of toss around.
Right.
So they had mentioned it to uh, the other extras, like, hey, we need a littler guy tonight. So Brody called me and was like, hey, if you get down here, you can probably wrestle Shelton. So I just zipped down there.
Your job. You're like I think I'm coming down with the cold.
I ran out the door of that job so fast. Didn't have, and I just and I was working a couple blocks from the arena, so
Oh wow.
I didn't have any of my stuff. I had nothing. I was in like ripped jeans, a hockey jersey, and like work boots. I was
You didn't
working
have
at
your gear?
nothing.
Really?
I called my girlfriend at the time and I said, "Hey, I need you to pack my stuff up and drive it to the arena right now." And because I just figured, I mean, this opportunity might be just right now. I just have to get there
Right.
right now.
Right.
So I got there. Jamie Noble met me at the door with Brody, and he must have asked me 700 times, "You swear to God you can work? You swear to God you can work?" And I was like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." And then he would bring me into a room with like writers and be like, "Hey, this is my guy for Shelton tonight." And then they'd be like, "Okay." And then he would take me to another room, and the whole walk over there, he was like, "This is my fucking name on the line. You swear to God? You swear to God you can work?" And I was like, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir." Um, so got there, got in the ring during they had me get in the ring to like see if I could work.
Right. Of
And
course.
the guys who were there were like with just the extras were so great. Like I tagged in or I got in there with Corey Graves, and we start wrestling and just basic stuff. But he's talking to me the whole time about, hey, make sure you do this. They like to see this. Try to do this. You know, so
Mhm.
like I'm getting coached by the other extras while I'm
Nice.
in there because I never did it. I never did any extra stuff before. I don't know what they're looking for. I just showed up
Right.
here.
Sure.
Um, so they were like, "Yep, let's do it." I wrestled Shelton, got pummeled around the ring, and allegedly, as the story goes, Vince is in the headset to the refs and whoever else has one, being like, who is this kid? That's how you fucking sell. That's how you fucking bump. Who is this kid?" And just
Nice.
going nuts in
Jamie
the
Noble's like, I picked him, Vince. He's my guy. I,
exactly.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Taking the win on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. How'd you like?
So
You get along with Sheldon?
yeah. Oh, he was great. I mean, he's clearly unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like nobody can deny the unbelievable talent that guy has. Um, everything was so easy.
Right.
Uh, you know, he picked me up for a power bomb like I was weightless. You know,
Yeah.
everything was just so timed and snappy and perfect. And I just thought, I cool. I wrestled on TV. I did a good job. That was awesome. And then I get through the curtain, and Vince McMahon gets out of his seat and shakes my hand, and he says, "Great job." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." And then the whole like down the line, all the producers are there, and they're all shaking my hand, telling me I did a great job. And I literally thought nothing of it because I was like,
You
"Oh, they're
probably
really."
you've never been there. You probably thought maybe That happens every time you walk through the curtain.
Seriously, I was like, they're
Yeah.
very nice here.
Wow.
What a nice gesture. And then I got to the end of the tunnel, and Johnny Ace was waiting there, and he's like, "Kid, take a walk with me." And I was like, "Okay." And he's like, "We want to give you $1,000 bonus for the night." And I was like, "That's more money than I've ever made for anything in my life. So yeah, sure, great." And then he was like, "What are you doing next week?" I said, "I think I have to work." And he goes, "Can you get out of it?" I said, yeah, I can. He was like, "We need you in North Carolina." And I was like, deal. And at that point, I think I'm driving to North Carolina because hell yeah.
Right.
And then he walks over to somebody else. He's like, "Hey, we need to get the kid a flight, a rental car, and a hotel for next week in North Carolina." And I was like, what's happening?
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
Because I was, like I said, a 21-year-old kid.
Right.
And I just remember I walked back into the extras locker room where all the guys are, which is a broom closet. As you know, WWE loves to roll out the red carpet for the extras and find the smallest room they can for like 8 to 10 large men. So I walk into this broom closet, and all the guys are like, "Oh, that was so good. That was so good." And I'm just not saying anything. And then it gets quiet, and I go, "I think I just got a job." And Brody scoops me up in his arms and starts
That's
throwing me up
great.
in the air.
That's awesome.
It was
That's
crazy.
that's awesome. You know, when I did TV, there were so many extras because look at WWF TV 92, 93, 94. It was all squash matches. So
Right.
there was no when I heard there were separate dressing rooms, I was shocked because you would just grab a corner, shut your mouth. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that there were separate locker rooms.
Oh man.
Yeah.
uh, and then so when I kept getting brought back, I didn't have a job there yet. So even though I was a thing on TV, I would still go change with the extras, and I would still do all the stuff with the extras during the day, like the wrestle around in the ring and whatever. And some of those locker rooms, woo-wee, let me tell you. So I felt like they were getting smaller and smaller. You're like under the stairs with like next to some mops.
Do you want to plug anything? Any social media?
So I'm as we've probably noticed, I am
A
technologically
tech guru. Sorry,
a
go ahead.
tech guru, and that extends to social media, which I'm also terrible at. But if you want to follow me, I'm at extremely cute on Twitter. Fun fact: the first tweet on the WWE Twitter account is about me. That's a fact. You can look it up.
Really?
The very first tweet they ever put out was something about Mark Henry destroying me randomly, ever on their whole account.
That's trivia.
Right.
Yeah.
In case you need that at trivia night.
Yeah.
I'm extremely Colin on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook, but it's mainly my friends and family. So